Whee! I like to eat sourdough bread, so let's make a bread bag. I will be using this for storing and transporting bread. And since it is for bread, the bag should complement the rustic look of the sourdough loaf. Lastly, it needs to be easy to clean, just in case I spill stuff on it. You thought that I will make it so easy. Let's just say it's not an easy project. Here's the design. Notice how it is version 0.1. I couldn't decide which fabric to use, so I started with the following four. This is a common choice among bread bakers. Many say this is better for storing the bread than cotton. This fabric literally reminded me of a burlap, like the ones people use to store coffee beans in. To determine which fabric to use, I did some experiments which involved washing, staining the fabric, and storing bread in these fabrics. The shrinkage test shows that the cotton and linen blend was the one that shrink the least. To test how easy it is to clean these fabrics, I smeared the fabric with things I will pack along with the bread and let it sit to dry for a few hours before washing them. To my surprise, they all came out stain-free. I guess these are all winners? To determine which fabric is best at preserving bread, I put pieces of my sourdough loaf that I had baked and defrosted and tasted each piece for 7 days. Now, this experiment would not be complete without a control. So I also put a piece of bread in the storage container I usually keep my bread in. After all, if the container is the winner, there is really no point in making this bread bag. I gotta say, the cotton canvas and Remy blend fabrics dries out the bread the fastest. The bread started to dry out by day 2 and were uncuttable by the end of the experiment. I can't even bite through the outer crust. It is so hard. It is so dry inside. I don't even know. Can I eat this? It's definitely the driest. Linen kept the bread crust crunchy and the inside moist longer than the cotton canvas and the Remy blend. You can see there's a little moisture in the inside. Linen and cotton blend turned out to be the best at preserving bread. Similar to the linen, the bread crust was crunchy. Though the inside did start to dry out, it was still moist at the center core by day 7. It's really moist inside here. The crust is delicious. As for the plastic container, the bread crust was soft after day 1, and the inside was moist all the way to day 7. I don't know how there was no mold. Overall, I like the bread store in the linen and cotton blend fabric the most. Once the fabric was selected, I made the bag based on my design. Though I didn't have enough of the linen and cotton blend fabric, and figured I could cheat a little bit and use quilting cotton and canvas for some section of the bag. I also attempted to make a zipper overlay. This was my first time doing this, and I don't think it was smart of me to make it an oval shape, which was to mimic the bread shape. In addition, I decided not to use any lining for my bag. And this is because in my experiment, I made the drawstring bag without a lining. This resulted in so many strands of fabric everywhere. Overall, I didn't like it. Everything was going smoothly until I'm off by 6 inches. Maybe that's why you don't draft sewing pattern at midnight. I did it again last night. I fixed the calculations I miscalculated. Look at that new zipper overlay. I did it. I did it. I did it. It is exactly the way how I envision the bread bag to be. I now have a bread bag. This is just a tester. This one, I'm gonna use it for a lunch bag, but we are now gonna make the real one, which will be made of linen and cotton blend. Let's do it. Let's go. For the vinyl version, I decided to go with these colors, challenging myself to yellow fabric, a color I don't quite use often. I also added interfacing to the zipper overlay and handle to give them more structure. It took me to the final version to figure out how to install the handle onto the bag. I had to make a quick change on how I sew the bag together towards the end. To align the handle with the side seam perfectly, I attached the top piece after sewing the main compartment size. In version 0.1, I first attached the top piece and then the size, which misaligned the handle. For version 0.2 tester, I totally forgot about the handle and had to seam rip to insert it at the end, which caused a slight bunching at the top edges of the main compartment. Let's test the sizing of the bag with the store-bought Patar sourdough loaf. This is not sponsored. I just love this brand. The fitting is a little tight, but overall it fits. Though the bag doesn't have any structure, so it can't stand on its own without leaning on something, I like how it turns out. I love how the bag turned out, and I'm so excited. I have enough fabric to make maybe 1 or 2 more, and I might do that. I'm gonna go bake a fresh loaf of sourdough bread now that I have a bag to store it in and keep it on my counter for 7 days. And I'm looking forward to the next family gathering where I can showcase my own design. Oh, one last thing before I go. Should I make a sewing tutorial for this?